Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm Diane Deziel and today I'm showing you how to get rid of the last dart on the back of the pen block. Now this is my back pant the way I left it at the end of my last video, where we did remove completely one of the dart, the smallest one, and we also reduced the size of the longest and the deepest one by 1 centimeter. And those modifications, we did them by removing on both sides the center back and the side seam. For today's video, I want you to see clearly how I'm going to eliminate that last dart and create a yoke. So I'm going to retrace my pen block on another paper. So I retraced my pant and I cut it. I just wanted to point out that I also traced my seam line. That's what you saw me tracing with the tracing wheel. And all dart and grain line. Now I just want you to notice that I did elongate my grain line all the way to the waist. And the first thing we're going to do now is going to be to measure on the side seam 5 centimeters from the waistline. And we're going to trace our yoke 90 degrees from the grain line, touching the 5 centimeter point. The next thing I will do is cut this line from one side to the other. Now we're ready to close the waist on the yoke part, but first I'm going to ask you to find the middle point between the two little lines at the bottom of the yoke. So just find the middle point. And the reason why I ask you to find the middle point is that we're going to close only half of the dart at this area, the complete dart on top, but half of the measurement at the bottom. So what you need to do is to trace from the second side of the dart until the middle point. Now take your yoke, fold on the first side of the dart, and bring it over that new line that you just traced. Then you just have to glue it in position. We're now going to complete the yoke pattern. You're going to glue your yoke on another piece of paper because we need to add the seam value and do a little tiny correction to the line. Now here's the correction. We're going to trace with the French curve a new line from the folded dart side that we did and the side seam point. So just like that. And we're going to trace from one point to the other. Now this is adding a little bit of fabric and it's going to help us because we did lose part of the 3D shape that we need because we're eliminating the dart. Then you could add your seam allowance only at the bottom of the yoke. Now, if we look at the bottom piece, we still have that part of the little dart. But looking at the top piece, you remember that we did left half of the value. So we will remove half of the value here on the center back line. So from the seam line, I'm going to go in half of the value of that little dart. Now that my half measurement is there, I suggest that you use the French curve and remove it as fast as you can, so on a very short distance. Then you're going to add your seam allowance from that new line and cut the excess. Now we'll do just like we did for the top part. We're going to add the seam allowance that is missing. Now the pattern is complete. We're only missing the notches for sewing, so you don't invert the piece direction while you're sewing. So to do it, you're going to place your piece face to face, place them together at the seam line, not at the seam value, the seam line. So you must have a point coming out And that point, we're just going to cut it out. Now when your pieces are still together, just like that, you're going to do a double notch, so 1 centimeter apart. Now this time the pattern is really completed, ready to sew and try on. I did it for you already, and hopefully you could see that the way I show you to eliminate the dart still give you a little 3D for a better fit on the back. That's it for today. I hope you enjoy. If you did, make sure you share my content with the world. Thanks for watching, and I see you next time.